should be live any second. We should be live now. Good evening, everyone, and thanks very much for coming in. We hope you're enjoying the dry weather. Tonight, we have the pleasure and the honour of welcoming back two very talented gentlemen, Mr. Craig Arhens and Mr. David Espinosa. I was told I was going to get your name wrong there, David. I think I got it wrong the first time. You were on. These two gentlemen are filmmakers. They are co-founders and owners of CRA Entertainment, an indie film company. They're responsible for films such as The Crumbs, Love and Quarantine, The Demon film has just been released. So it's been about a year since we had these gentlemen on, and I thought we'll bring them back. We'll have a catch up with them, see what's been happening. So thanks very much, Craig and Dave, for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
It's always a pleasure. As I said, the last time we met, it was the film quiz that we did with you, and you did actually quite well. 38 points, I think he's got, which was quite reasonable. I'm sure it was you were in the 30s anyway. I do remember that. But that was I thought it was a good night, so you did very well. But
Thank you.
Congratulations again on the release of Love and Quarantine, Demon Fighter, right close to each other. It's been a long time waiting on them coming.
About the films, about each one of them.
Yeah.
They were very exciting to make because we made them almost back to back. We were shooting Demon Fighter, and in the middle of shooting Demon Fighter, we got the idea for Love and Quarantine. And when we finished shooting Demon Fighter, we went back, developed the script for Love and Quarantine, shot that immediately, and took it into post. So we had two films in post-production at the same time, and we got them released right around the same time as well. Just recently, what's it been, about a month and a half?
Yeah.
And the films are two different films. One is a dramedy, if you will, a dramatic comedy, Love and Quarantine, and the other one we're hoping is a action thriller, a horror film, Demon Fighter. Starring Master John Ozuna, a pretty noted upcoming action actor. Several other noted actors in there: Jeannie Young, Jeff Hatch, Robert Crow. So we had a great cast, and that film is out now, I believe, on Amazon Prime. It'll be coming up on Tubi TV shortly, and some other platforms. But you can catch Love and Quarantine right now on Tubi TV for free, and I emphasize free. You can even get it on YouTube, I believe, for the same price. So, don't hesitate with that. But that's what we've been up to, and some other things as well, if that helps answer your question.
It does. I mean, you shot Demon Fighter, and then straight after it, you started work on Love and Quarantine. That's a lot of work. It's a lot. It's not a lot of pressure. Hey, Lauderdale, when you've got, you've just finished doing one movie and you're starting on another one. How does that work? Logistic wise, and
what's wrong with us? we're just old guys who are having a couple of beers and said, "Hey, man, let's go. Let's start making another movie next week." But if you're not busy, I'm not. No, actually, Love and Quarantine. David came up with the idea. Was it the last day, David, of shooting?
A couple of days before we were done. Yeah, with Demon Fighter. I remembered in the middle of the day, I had this idea: what would it be like to have two people who really, on the surface, love each other for sure, but underneath, stuck together forever, do they really love each other? And that, I thought that'd be funny, especially if they, dealt with the thieves and the little idiosyncrasies, the things that gets on your nerves, and you can't run off to your job or whatever you do, go to the bar or whatever it is you're into. So we thought that we could talk about what's happening with it. And don't even ask us why. We just did it. We thought it'd be a good idea to shoot it. We had the cast. We picked the cast, honestly, right from people who were involved with Demon Fighter. N.J. Brown is in Demon Fighter. Jeannie Young is in Demon Fighter. They both have significant roles. Mm-hmm. And Jeannie has a strong leading supporting role in there. And she just seemed right. I mean, working with her as a director on this Demon Fighter, I could see this other character in her, and so I just asked her straight out, "Look, I got this idea, and I'm going to write the script. You want to do the part?" She goes, "Sure." I said, "All right."
Right.
That's how it happened. And I think what it is, Greg said something earlier. We're just a couple of old guys, and we really take that to heart. We don't have too much time left, so we have to make some quick decisions. If something comes up, we got to jump on it.
We got to move.
But yeah, pretty much. That's what that is.
I like your way of looking at it, David. We're a couple of guys. We don't have much time left, so we want to get stuff done. I wouldn't say we're a couple of old guys. He's a, aged, shall we say? For want of a better word. Same as myself. But
very true. Very true.
We're all going to get there someday. As I say, I've still got my looks, same as you two gentlemen have. I think
something I was told once about living in the now. You can't live in the now if you're reflecting on the then, and you're not going to be able to live in the now if you're thinking about the there. You have to be right now, and that's one of the things that I like about working with Craig. Is that when we have a project, like we've been developing some script coming up, and when we're working on that, we don't involve ourselves in a personal manner where if we decide this isn't going to work, we get hurt. We just cut it out. We just stab it.
We stab it.
Just like that. It kind of works for us, So we're a team, and it works well for us this way.
It does work well. That's why I like it with you guys. You're laid back, and you get an idea, you just go for it, and the two you do work well. I think this is the third or fourth time we've had these on, and you can see the chemistry between you. Even just sitting talking on a show, how the two you bond, and you can laugh and joke, but everything you do, project wise, scripts, movies, whatever, it all works out. And
we've worked on several projects, Scott, that will be, early phases of it. At some point, if it just doesn't make sense, like what David was suggesting, we'll move on. That we've done that. Gosh, David, how many times? Maybe 5 or 6 scripts that we've been whaled into and just said, you know what, and go on to something else, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's not because we didn't like what we were writing necessarily. It's because we think of it in a greater term, in the terms of our audience. How would our audience perceive and receive this? And our mission is to entertain, inform, and enlighten. And if all we do is entertain, we've completed our mission. And we feel our films are worth watching. If all they get is entertained. And so that's what we focus on, and it doesn't matter if we think what we wrote was brilliant. We excise it in a minute. We'll take it right out. We've shot scenes that we've liked.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
we didn't use whole scenes. I feel
Yeah.
bad for the actors, but that's the business. You take your chances.
Yeah.
We
It's
can't
a
take.
rough business, Scott.
But no, I totally agree. You do take your chances. I mean, I'm always getting ideas in my head. Same with you guys probably are. Your head never stops. It's constantly, and you come up with an idea. You think, I wonder if I could make that work. And then while you're working on that idea, another one will pop in. And you well, could I make that work as well as the last one? And you can drag yourself insane sometimes, but you just can't switch off.
Just so I guess the question is just what's really going on, huh?
I
What
wouldn't
are you
really
what are you really trying to tell me?
You know,
behind the
it's
good looks. But the other thing with you guys' films is you do think take the Crumbs for instance. I've watched the Crumbs. I don't know how many times now. But you took the story. Also, the Crumbs is serial killers, basically the family. But you took it and you turned it inside out. You wanted people to see it from the serial killer's side rather than the police or whatever side of it. And I thought that was quite ingenious, and it really, really worked. I really enjoyed that film. As I say, I've watched it quite a few times, and you sort of showed them in a different kind of light. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what I could have took for it. And same with Love in Quarantine. I will be honest with you, I've not got around to watching Demon Fighter yet, but I definitely will because I've watched the trailer for it a couple of times and it looks amazing. It looks really, really good. But I watched Love in Quarantine and it did take me by surprise. It's not what I was expecting, but as I say, it was in a good way. I had the idea when I first heard the name, Love in Quarantine. I imagined it was about two people who were maybe a group of people who were all sort of quarantined in the one building sort of thing, and two people meet and fall in love. That's the kind of idea I had at first. So obviously, when I seen the trailer and I seen the film, I thought this isn't what I thought it was going to be. You know, totally different. And I was engrossed in it. And what I found, I'm not going to always have to say too much because everybody's, want people to watch it and see for themselves. It kind of pulled me in two different ways. You've got your characters, Ben and Caroline, and it starts off with together, as you say, but they're stuck in the same house. They don't have that release of work at the bar or wherever. And when I was watching it, I was getting engrossed in both of them have got kind of issues, and you're following one's issues, you're following the other one, and you're thinking, well, do I agree with Caroline or do I agree with Ben? Does that make sense?
well,
Yeah.
I think we were trying to examine relationships that people who love each other and accept each other, even they have their limits. But in the end of it all, love overlooks all of those little things that bug us and says, you know what? Despite the fact that you do all that, I couldn't live without you.
Right.
And that's the message we were trying to say. It was real simple. Love conquers all. You don't have to look far for the theme. The plot's obvious. It's how they do or do not get along on a daily basis, and the stuff that drives them crazy. We in shooting it, we had comments from the crew few group members, is this supposed to be funny? Is this and
what are we shooting exactly?
yeah,
What
I
exactly
mean,
are we doing here? You know, what's the kind of idea behind the film? But that's how I found it. I was sitting there and I was engrossed in it, and you could see both their points of view. You know, I mean, we've been in relationships where your partner's got maybe niggly habits. You know,
one sided.
yeah,
You got a good guy and a bad guy. There
I,
are none. There's no good guys or bad guys in relationships,
you know
unless there's somebody who's violent, But
well,
in this,
I
this
that's
was, this was just paranoia.
yeah,
It's what he was thinking. But take it to another level aside from just them personally, and ask yourself on a broader scale. Society and how we examine people. Why is he so paranoid? Well, is that part of the conditioning process that he's gone through due to bigotry and prejudice in the world and discrimination?
Mhm.
And even though she represents that oppressive other side, she's not. And she tells him, I loved you because you were kind.
yeah.
That's what attracted me to you. You were kind. It
Right.
had nothing to do with anything else. My Little Pony. And so,
I remember that, but I loved you because you're kindness, my little pony. I remember that the reference to that, but it's funny you say paranoid, David, because that's what I wrote down here. Ben becomes paranoid after day 62 because I made a couple of wee scribbly notes.
oh,
And day 62 then becomes paranoid, and I put question because I wasn't sure if it was paranoia or not, so I put some question marks beside it. And because obviously a couple of things that happen in it, you do start to wonder, is she or isn't she? But I remember that she says to me, I didn't marry you because of your blackness, I married you because of your kindness. I thought that was a brilliant line.
well, paranoid aspects. And I think, Craig, remember that lady, Strega? Her name is.
Yes, yes,
She,
yes.
uh, Maybe you want to talk about that article for a minute. So she wrote a very good comment about the film.
Yeah, this one of our supporters wrote an in-depth review on the film. I mean, I don't think any one of our films has received such accolades as what she said in regards to Love and Quarantine. She just got it from the standpoint of the mental aspect of it, what the characters are going through. And oh my gosh, David, what was it? Maybe a 10 paragraph review, if not longer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She even cited psychological reviews as a professional quoted text of things that have just been coming out in journals, medical journals, relative to the pressures and stresses caused by the so-called pandemic, lockdown, cabin fever, if you will, that type of a
Mm-hmm.
syndrome. People, suffering the stress
Right.
behind it. So it was quite impressive. She said we hit right on it, and those are the kinds of comments that made us feel good because we wanted to, be able to have people relate to it, and that was the thing that was kind of fun for us because we had a premiere for the film, and what we heard was people laughing at each other. You do
Yeah.
that, you like that, couples, right? No, sir, you do that, you do. So it was kind of nice, that was the whole point of it. But again, is there a broader perspective to think about it? And I'm hoping that some people got it. We tried to address issues on a social level without being didactic, not throwing things in their face. You got to believe this way or you got to believe that way.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't
Right.
want to do that. We just wanted to present the sides and and show some credibility to either side and why it was.
You did get it spot on, as you were saying, David, about the pandemic and the pressures people had been under, being locked. I mean, we were the same. We were locked down for I don't know how long, quite some time, you know. So you couldn't go anywhere. So you are with your partner 24/7 basically, and they do have some niggly habits that kind of annoy you, and there's no escape from them. And you did highlight that in a good way, you know, especially with Caroline's fried chicken, mashes, veg, and was it corn or something with that fried
They,
chicken, mashes, veg, and there was another part of the dish as well.
oh,
Um,
she had what were the problems? But you know what? Uh, what was able to happen was because I had really good actors, Jeannie Young and N.J. Brown, who are able to bring the sensitivities to it, the sincerities to it. That was what I was trying to do, and I wasn't capable of doing it without those folks.
Right.
So those two actors, I mean, the stuff went through. Her tears were real. Their stress was real. Their anxieties. That's why we had so many people asking, "Is this supposed to be funny?" And I said, "I said, well, you got to see it in its whole. You know, we laugh at ourselves, right? Even
mhm.
you know, somebody's going on their bike and they take a spill on their bicycle and tumble over. What do we do? Oh, gee, oh, that must have hurt. Oh, I hope he's okay. But we laugh first.
You do. I we we are the exact same. You know, if I see somebody hurting herself, I'll laugh and then ask them if they're okay. It's you just can't help it. It's it's human. Some people's nature. You know, if I see somebody getting hit by a bus, or I know it's a bit extreme, but I mean, you get hit by a bus, then you go over and ask, check if they're still breathing. You
Right.
know, after you've giggled, then you I better go and see if he's okay. If he's still got two legs and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
but no, you did. You covered quite a lot of points. When the colour of your skin. Caroline's pal made a good point in it as well. People look at me and they see the skin; they don't see me basically, and that is a problem in the world today. But I mean, we are all the same, regardless of what colour this is. And the film kind of brought that out as well, that we are all the same, and I thought that was good as well. Um, One thing I do need to ask you is the rhyme between Caroline and her friend that they do after they do the pancake thing.
I'm not sure exactly. Say that again. Ask me that again.
When Caroline's friend comes to visit her and
Yes, when her friend comes.
she says, what's in the bag, and her
Oh,
Right.
friend says, I'm not telling you until we do
the
the,
little patty cake thing.
the routine. How long did that take the ladies to learn?
Actually, they learned it on their own before. I had the actors. I gave them that to learn before, and so when they got there, they started working on it right away. And they're talented young girls. They did stuff like that when they were kids. My wife did, as a matter of fact. That's where I got it. My wife taught me that, and so you know that's what it was. But yeah, it was. I loved that scene, by the way, that you brought that up.
I've got the cats up here. So,
I thought you were going to ask me what was in the bag.
oh, I know what was in the bag because they had a wee bit of it later on. I know she brought her
Yeah.
a wee present. So, Craig, you had a big part in the film.
I did. And many say, I'm just saying what others say, without my performance, the film probably wouldn't have gone as well as it did. That's just not me. That's what a lot. No, yeah. If you happen to miss or blink during that stretch, you'll definitely miss my star-studded performance, no doubt.
How long did it take you to rehearse for it?
Well, fortunately, David really coached me through it, and we did a lot of work on it before he got to set.
Oh,
I'm
an
not
overnight
really,
rehearsal.
yeah, and I'm not really good memorizing lines. So, David thought, well, if I can keep it down to like three, no more than four, he'll probably get it. So it took like 5 or 6 takes, but we got it. We got what he wanted.
I was going to say, I was watching it and I saw your part in it, and I thought, what is that him? Is it no him? So I had to put it back and play it again, and it was the voice. As soon as I heard the voice again, I thought, aye, that's him. But it kind of reminded me in the Crumbs, we pop up as a homeless man in the bushes.
Well, speaking of that, if I may, in Demon Fighter, we had the previous evening, and David, interrupt me if I'm off slightly on this, but the previous night, we didn't get done shooting until early in the morning. So everybody was tired the next day. And this was a shoot kind of at sunset into the evening that I'm talking about. And I went to my car. I talked to David, so I went to my car just to take maybe like a short little nap to kind of take the edge off and kind of get my brain functioning again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not in there more than a few minutes, and somebody knocks on my window, said, "Hey, David needs you in your homeless garb on set now." So, yeah, homeless Bill from Crumbs quickly dashes into uniform and is on set, and let's go, everybody. But yeah, so I always keep my homeless stuff with me just in case Espinosa says, "Hey, give me the homeless guy. I'm ready. I'm ready, Scott."
Hey, and you never know. We may be out and don't have anything to eat, and throw that on him, put him out there, little change. Maybe we can get a sandwich. So yeah.
It's handy to carry around, and just if you're a wee bit short of change, whatever, just like stick it on and sit at a McDonald's or something, Burger King, whatever, and just sort of beg for a cheeseburger. But no, you seem to get to say that one in Love and Quarantine when you kind of pop up, buying jobs done, and then it reminded me of the Crumbs when you just kind of appear in the bushes like that, like this madman. That's um,
You never know.
uh, of course in Evil, the first film, you had a bigger part. You just didn't just pop up and hello kind of thing.
Well,
As a neighbor.
well, I think you might like the change up then with Demon Fighter. We have a master kung fu Jesuit priest who is a practicing exorcist, okay, who fights demons in the street, in the souls of men, while he wrestles with his own. So it's action packed, which we like. This guy's actually out there kicking butt. John Azuna, the star of the movie, he actually holds 2 world records: fastest punch ever thrown and number of punches thrown within a minute. Something like 730
in a minute.
punches in a minute.
Yeah.
Incredible speed. You'll like him. He's been in a lot of things: Venom 2, The Matrix. He's in some upcoming films as well as ours. We were glad to have him. I think you'll find him impressive. He plays Father Michael, the priest, and that covers a wide range. I think Jeff Hatch is in this film. He plays the demon possessed guy, and I think you'll find his performance just top notch. We're very excited for this film right now. And
I'm looking forward
it's
to
on
it.
Amazon Prime. You can see it, but if you want to wait till it's free, you're gonna have to wait. I don't know how much longer that would be before it gets up on Tubi. Do you have any idea, Craig?
Literally any day, and then sometime probably in September, then it'd be on some of the horror channels in YouTube. That generally seems how it goes.
I don't, even though we're Scottish, don't believe the myths you hear about Scottish people who don't pay for anything. But not I'll, because I'm wanting to see it. I've seen the trailer for it, and I noticed Jeff was in it, and Robert Crowe was in it as well. Of course, Jeff played Doctor Crumb, Benjamin Crumb, and the Crumb. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I will see it in the next day or two. Once the wee ones are like dead. So, so when you were filming, again, just get back, you're filming all Demon Fighter, then you started on Love and Quarantine. How much time did you actually spend at home during the filming the two movies and stuff? I would imagine it took up a lot of your time.
Well, Demon Fighter was it Demon Fighter 14 days, David, or
Well, I'm sorry, say that
15?
again, Craig.
How many days was the Demon Fighter shoot followed by Love and Quarantine? I think Love and Quarantine was 13 days.
Yeah, Demon Fighter was right around that as well, for 13,
Yeah,
14 days. Wasn't,
and, and
yeah, the same amount of time.
and we actually shot Demon Fighter June, wasn't it June of 2020?
That's right. It went to the last 2 weeks of June, or into the first week of July. We ended it on July 2nd, I believe, was the last day of shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then we started shooting Love and Quarantine
The following February,
right February of last year.
yeah,
Both of them were going
shortly
back and
after.
forth in post production, and realizing with Demon Fighter, there's no real expiration date when it comes to demons, but Love and Quarantine, we thought, well, that's a little more time sensitive. So once we had the rough cut on that film, it was kind of all hands on deck to get that film released.
'Cause I mean, obviously, I'm no film expert, whatever, but I've spoken to you guys before about it. The whole, writing this, putting it all together process when you start to write the script, so it's finally, done, and it's released. It's in the can. I think that's the term used film people use it in the can. I've heard that on
Right,
telly, people saying it's in the can.
right.
Um, you must get a great sense of accomplishment, when you sit back and everything's all done, and all the loose ends are tied up, and you sit and you can watch it, and you think, we did it again.
Yeah, it's kind of an amazing process to go through when you get your cut, and after you kind of get over that aspect of things, that's when David and I just really roll up our sleeves and dive into the film, and realizing our film is there, the ultimate film is there, and it's our responsibility to go through it, go through it, go through it. Like David said a few minutes ago, some scenes, it just doesn't really do anything. There's no new information, there's no real conflict. It may be a fun scene, but
Mhm.
there's nothing. There's nothing really else going on there. Then we have to make the painstaking decisions how it goes.
It ends up on the cutting room floor, as they say. I don't know if that term's still used or not, the cutting room floor. Um, you know, it's to me, it's a fantastic achievement. Just to make a whole film from start to end. After you have completed a film, and it's on the bag, do you have a tradition? Is there anything you kind of do? You go out for a beer, or is there something that you do? After each film, or do you want actually rephrase it? Do I want to know? You know, you know.
You know, eh, we have done those things. And a quick story: we shot the Crumbs, and we were in the middle of shooting Demon Fighter when the Crumbs post was complete, and we had a pretty decent rough cut, showable for we were going to get a first audience preview of it. And we aired it, catered the little event for all the cast and crew of Demon Fighter, and showed it on a Sunday. Ruined everybody's Sunday.
Including ours.
Oh my God, it was horrible. Greg and I, we were like, oh, geez, what are you going to do? And
I think, David, if I may, that's when I pointed out to people, Scott, that David actually wrote and directed this whole film, and I'm as surprised as everybody else how it came out. No, I'm kidding.
And it's. I mean, I was saying earlier on about ideas. But I constantly get ideas, but to actually sit down and write a whole screenplay, from start to finish, and especially with Love in Quarantine, I thought the script. I'm no film critic, but I thought the script worked really well between Ben and Caroline. The way they kind of bounced off each other, they hated each other, and then you can see that wee bit of love sneaking back in, and then something else would happen, and it would kind of tip back away again. And I thought it was absolutely amazing the way it was written, and the two people who played the characters as well, they done a fantastic job. Actually, portraying it, because they did it. It drew you in, like the Crumbs did as well. The Crumbs drew me in. It drew you into the actual story, and it made you feel like you were actually sitting on their sofa watching them.
Yeah,
being part of it. And I found that amazing, because Sarah says, "What did you think?" Because Sarah's not watched it yet, and she says, "What did you think?" I said, "I thought it was brilliant." Because you need to watch it, and just I'm not going to tell you about it. Just sit and watch it and let me know what you think. When you were filming Love and Quarantine, obviously over here in the UK, when the pandemic was going on, there was a lot of restrictions, and there was a lot you could talk about on social platforms. There's a lot you couldn't talk about on social platforms. Did you encounter any issues with that when you were doing Love and Quarantine, considering the sort of background story to it?
Oh, so background. Go ahead, David.
Well, Love in Quarantine, when we shot it, we wanted to use the COVID thing as a catalyst for a discussion of what you already talked about, the relationships between people, the struggle between ego and love.
Mm-hmm.
Because you said it a minute ago, and I really liked the way you said it, that you see moments where the love is finding its way, and then it's like, but you did this, and it goes the other way. And, and that's the struggle. So we wanted the COVID thing to just be the catalyst for all of this. We wanted it, of course, be acknowledged that it is real and stuff was happening, but we didn't want it to be necessarily the driving theme behind the action.
Mm-hmm.
The real driving theme behind the action was themselves, the frustrations of the relationship.
Right.
And we just used COVID as a vehicle to put them, if you will, into the box.
Yeah.
And let's shake it up and see how they behave. And that's basically what it was. And those two actors really caught that. I'm so grateful to have been able to work with them. They brought a lot to it. They worked really hard, a lot of hours, a lot of stress. like I said, those tears were real. Those folks were feeling what they felt. So Jeannie Young and N.J. Brown, they killed it, if you will. We were happy with them.
They definitely nailed it. As you say, Demon Fighter is a much darker film. You know, it's more of the horror genre film. What was easier to shoot between the two? Was there one that was easier than the other one?
Oh yeah, by far, Love and Quarantine was easier to shoot because it was a single location pretty much. We did some vehicle stuff, small time, but I was pulling in and pulling out, of a driveway. But absent that, it was all shot right there. One location, and then we had a smaller location, which is again right there indoors. A little crampy, but Demon Fighter. How many locations do we have at Demon Fighter, Craig?
Well, we had, oh gosh, David, maybe 7 or 8 different locations, but in some cases they were really quite a distance away from each other. So you would have to factor in certainly the drive time in which to establish your call time for the next day, and then setup. I mean, I think what a lot of people don't realize, it's the setup for the shot that will take a long time. And so by having multiple locations, you have setups for each one of those locations. So, and also not to mention the makeup for the demon and others in the film that were possessed. So it was much more involved by far, like what David is saying, as compared to Love and Quarantine. Sure.
We were blessed to have a very talented set designer, Alan Abshire.
Right.
He worked on and he created a variety of different set venues for us, from little slum ghetto apartments to juvenile detention facilities and libraries, and some of these all in the same spot.
Right.
Yeah, the rabbi's quarters, all kinds of places. So it takes a lot of people. It's not just Craig and I coming up with an idea and going, okay, let's do this.
Anybody have a camera? Let's make it. Let's go film it. Yeah.
We don't even have a camera.
Was
excuse for a filmmaker?
I know, right?
That was one thing I wanted to say. You just before we go back to Demon Fight, the other thing about Love and Quarantine was, you said, David, you just used basically the one location for most, except maybe a driveway. The other thing I really liked about it, I've saw a few films, in my time, where there's only been one or two cast in it, and they didn't really work for me. It's just my personal opinion. But the Love and Quarantine, you've got your two main characters that are there the majority of the film. Each one's got a friend that pops in, right? Every now and again,
Right.
for a very short time. But the 95% say is just these two characters, and I felt that really, it was easy to watch. Because I've seen other ones before. There's been two people, maybe 3 at the most in the cast. No,
I take it you're not a romantic comedy kind of guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you that I'll make a wee confession, right? But don't tell anybody, right? One of my favourite rom-coms is Bridesmaids. Did you ever see Bridesmaids?
Oh yes, Bridesmaids. Absolutely. Are you kidding? I've been married 45 years. I've seen rom-coms.
But I'm from Glasgow. I'm a Glaswegian. Don't tell anybody that that's one of my favourite films. It's Bridesmaids.
Right on.
That's
It is
good.
funny. It is funny. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You can't. The type of film that we did in terms of it being romantic comedy, that wasn't necessarily the aim or our objective. Most romantic comedies are boy meets girl, wants boy, can't get him, whatever happens. How boy gets girl or doesn't get girl, and vice versa. And that's generally where they go. Well, they already had each other.
Right.
So it was how boy doesn't or does keep and how girl doesn't or does keep. So it was different. We drove them apart.
Yeah.
And then hopefully showing that despite that they have this, they still want just the same thing and bringing them back together.
Hmm.
So it was a little bit different than most rom-coms that, people run into each other or find each other through some conflict or something. No, no. These people ended up separating
Yeah,
and going someplace else.
you,
And we wanted to show that despite the fact that we are very different people, all of us, and you can't get more extreme than them two,
Right.
uh, we are the same. We're the
yeah,
same. When we love each other, we're the same. And that's the end of the issue. You
as
know?
you say, most romantic comedies, boy meets girl, boy sees girl, chases girl, gets her, blah blah blah. But you've done it from the other side of the door, basically. You just kind of took it after you'd been over the hill and meeting the girl and marrying her. And you just kind of went the other, which was really really good because not a lot of films do that. They're all maybe set on the same, romantic scenario. But they two, Caroline and Ben, the way they worked with each other, you didn't matter if it was just two of them for the entire film. You could sit and easily watch them. Just bouncing off each other. So the other thing I'd like to ask you with Demon Fighter, I'm looking forward to it, but I like blood and guts and people losing body parts and stuff like that. You know, but I love it. But I do like a good horror film with a story to it as well. Don't get me wrong. But if somebody loses a limb during it, then I don't complain. Call me old fashioned. I don't. Um, how do
Well,
you go about? How do you go about choosing your locations? As Craig says, it could be miles apart. How do you find the different locations?
I think there's two different aspects. I'll speak of one and let Craig speak of the other. Uh, the first one is, do we have a script that falls within our mission?
Right.
Can it entertain? Can it hopefully inform somebody of something? Could it hopefully enlighten somebody somewhere? Can it do something? Blood and guts for the sake of blood and guts, I'm not into. But blood and guts with a purpose, okay. I don't have a problem with that as long as it's done well. So we look at that and then we ask ourselves, can we afford this? And that's where we start to develop a budget. And I'll let Craig kind of talk about that here, what we do with that.
Well, I think also, Scott, to touch on your point, after David has written the script, we'll first discuss, okay, how many locations do we have and what are we aware of at our disposal? Plus, like David touched on a moment ago, Alan Abshire has done a really good job uh, with set locations, and that's been a big help. People on our team that are well connected, very very creative, if you will, and will come up with ideas. And if one idea doesn't work, there'll be something else that will work itself out. At the same time, and after we establish how many days shoot it's going to be, then you start breaking down the budget, and that is how many actors. One of the big costs, of course, is food. Food is, I think, a lot more expensive than people realize. The crew, for the most part, they're going to be there every day with no exceptions, and a good ample amount of the actors as well. And then David and I just start penciling in the numbers. And, thankfully, not to jinx ourselves, but we have come in on the set number of days of the shoot and within budget. Um, Even with mishaps on Love and Quarantine, It was on a Saturday. Was it Saturday, David?
Yes, the following day is going to be Valentine's Day, a Sunday.
Yeah, right. That our on-set editor came to us Saturday morning, and the previous day's footage gone that he did not properly download. There's a big backstory to all of that, but all of that footage was gone. So we talked to cast and crew, and the next day, like David said, was Valentine's Day because we had to make up the day somewhere. And thankfully, everybody was willing to come in, and we paid them, of course, to come in and work Valentine's Day. And again, thankfully, they have a lot of cooperative, significant others that allowed for this to all take place. So yeah, we had to make up a full day's work that was lost on Sunday. And that was. Go ahead, David.
No, I was going to say it actually cost us 2.5 days. The actual days before of shooting, plus the new day of shooting, and then we had to pay a premium on top of that. Not that we hesitated for that at all, not even. Respecting the crew and the cast
Right.
is of the utmost importance. Which is, as an indie filmmaker, we try to never ask somebody to come and work for free. If we can't afford to do the film, and this is what Craig was getting to with the budget items, coming in on budget and on time within the time frame, because you go over those days. If we allocate for 14 days and we're there 16, where does that money come from?
Yeah.
Our investors get us and go, well, you guys are pretty good at doing it right on time. I think I'll do this with you again. And that's what's been keeping our boat afloat. So, but I got to tell you, that is credited to Craig, his ability to keep us on track and maintain administratively what we're doing, producing the film. It's a lot of work. It continues during the entire process all the way to having the film released, which is where it's at now. And we pick up marketing, and that's what we do. We do it every day. I can't tell you Craig, how many different groups do we belong to?
Well, within Facebook, 1,000, maybe like 1,070 groups that we're members in. That and we have such a loyal support base that we'll post our films in there, and thankfully they like us, So it's yeah, right. But it's worked out. It's worked out really. Thank God. I mean, really, really, really well.
Yeah, but see that's the thing. Yous are very, as I said they were on. Yous are very down to earth. Yous are just normal guys. Don't get yous are, yous are very, very talented. Loads of experience of what yous do. But putting that aside, at the end of the day, yous are just normal guys. Yous aren't the, you get some of these Hollywood people that say, I'm a star and I know it. I'm a big director and I know it. Sort of thing. Yous are just everyday guys. I noticed that the very first time we did our very first video call. I don't know, way back a year and a half ago, whatever. I was nervous about talking to you because, that's what these guys have done, films. David's been doing it for 40 years, etc. And, but when I started talking to you, I thought, they're just normal guys. They're no, big Hollywood mansions and limousines and, big massive yacht, all that kind of stuff. They're just everyday down there guys. And I think, that's all it is. People realise that, people see you, they listen to you, and they know that it's no fame hungry or power hungry, or there's none of that. It's just you are very, very passionate about what you do,
Right.
And that's your focus, as you said, David. Entertaining people. If people watch your movies and they're entertained, then you've done a job, basically. That's your main kind of goal. And people see this. He's only after, millions of dollars in revenue or whatever as you call it. You just love what you do. And
thank you.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
People pick up on that passion. You know, it's the same here with the paranormal. There's teams in the UK that are just wanting donations or they're wanting stars. You know, they're putting a group, send stars, you know, that, and they've got PayPal links and all sorts, you know. And we don't do that. We've never asked anybody for a penny because we're in the frame of mind. If we can't afford to do it, then we will not do it. We'll wait until we can do it, you know. But there's groups over here that aren't, you know, they just want the fame, they want the TV show and whatever the next Zach Baggins, whoever. But then you get genuine teams that just go out and do investigations because they love doing it.
Yeah.
You know, plain and simple. And that's exactly what you guys are. You are very passionate. You are very, very good at what you do, obviously. And I think this is the draw. That was the draw for me. And then obviously I watched the film and I saw that he's two different kind of slant to your films, you know. And like you say the Crumbs, Loving Quarantine, what have you. They're kind of different to what other people have done, and I think that's what makes them more appealing to me. And I say I congratulate the two of you and the rest of you, you know, Shane as well. Not taking anything away from Shane. I hope he's doing okay.
Yeah, Shane's doing well. Thanks.
You know, everybody that works for you. And as you say, in Demon Fighter, you get Jeff, who was in the Crumbs. You've got people for Love and Quarantine. You've got Robert Crow. So I think you have found that. Would you say you have found that team, that kind of connection?
Wait till you see him in Demon Fighter. You'll see why. He's a versatile actor. He's got energy and strength. He the type of actor that really focuses on giving as much energy to the character that he can without hesitation. I like working with him. He's very creative, huh, Craig?
Yes, very, very.
Yeah, he's easy to work with. You said something a moment ago that really caught my attention, and I know your listeners and your viewers are paying attention because it's something that they'll learn from. You were talking about doing things not because you wanted somebody to know who you were or pat you on the back. You're doing it that you almost can't help yourself. You must do it. It's just in you, and pursuing those passionate types of endeavors is what gives you a fulfilling purpose, regardless of what it is. It could be cooking, it could be gardening your garden, it could be painting, it could be anything, your job. Doesn't matter what it is. And you bring to mind something I was told once about art. And I think everybody has art in them. Every single person who's ever been born has some art in them somewhere. It doesn't matter the quality of it. We have it. We like to sing. We like to dance. We like to create. We're creators. That's what we do. And I think loving the art that's in you and expressing it, regardless of what it is the purpose. Not loving yourself within art, which is patting yourself on the back. And that's one of the things that drew me to Craig as a partner and enticed me, made me want to really work with him when I met him, is that he wanted to do stuff that had a whole different purpose, not about celebrating him in it. And he's a good actor. He's a very good actor. He's an award-winning filmmaker.
Yeah.
But why do we do this? Brother, we've asked that same question too.
I thought finally you were going to answer it now, but no, we still don't know. We keep doing it, Scott. You know, what else are we going to do?
As you say, you've only got a lot of time left. You know, that was David's was not mine. That man there said that, you know, don't know how long we got left. You do it because you love it. You do it, as David said, everybody's got this kind of art inside them. And, you know, and you just have to do it. You do it because you love it and you feel you have to do it and you enjoy doing it. And it makes other people, you know, it makes other people happy watching your films, etc.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much.
That's it. That's the bottom line, you know. And if we give, let's be totally honest. Everybody likes a compliment now and again. You know, everybody likes that wee kind of pat in the back. You know, well done. You get it, but you move on. You know, so we've done well in that one, but let's keep rolling on and see what's round the corner, kind of thing. But then you get these people that want a pat in the back and they want you to keep patting. You know, well done, well done, well done, well done. You know,
Don't stop. It feels good.
you know, I just keep going, just move a wee bit, that wee bit there. That's the spot.
I'm
But
still
see,
left a
That's-
little bit.
you get me compliments. Oh, thanks very much. That's really nice of you. Right, let's move on to the next one and see what happens. You know, but I think we'll wind up there. I know you are two very, very busy gentlemen. I've got one more question for you actually. Did any cameras get broke between Love and Quarantine and Demon Fighter?
On those films.
Because I remember at the Crumbs with Anton, his first day of shooting, he broke a camera by accident. Remember?
No, we've been very fortunate. However, we did unfortunately have a gentleman who was doing sound have a collapsed chair
Yeah.
on Love and Quarantine, and I don't think there was any mishaps on Demon Fighter
No.
that I'm aware of. There were some people, we did some pretty horrendous things. When you see the stunt work done by these incredible martial artists, you'll wonder why they didn't get hurt for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very good. They brought a lot to it, so we're excited about the film. But fortunately, no more broken cameras.
Yes.
Well, that's, I think a broken chair is a lot cheaper than a broken camera.
Amen.
Amen. Thank
I'm
you.
a tech camera anyway. So what's next up for you? Just before we wind up, what's next up for CRA? What's next in that you can talk about?
Well, we have a couple of scripts we're considering, and they range from a two-man type of film, action type film, to a full-on horrific terror film in between. So we're kind of like, we also have a comedy stuck in there, a situation type comedy, we think, that we've been working on. But at this point, we're kind of really putting them up, looking at them individually. Like I said earlier, we have a lot of considerations
Right.
before we decide what we're going to work on. But we're excited about the future, and we're excited about the next project that does come up.
Mm-hmm.
And we will definitely keep you posted as to what we're working on.
Right.
We hope everybody does watch Demon Fighter, Love and Quarantine. And what platforms do they catch them on, Craig?
Yeah. Right now with Demon Fighter, it's on Amazon Prime, any day, Tubi TV, and with Love and Quarantine, Amazon Prime and Tubi TV, and then Demon Fighter, sometime in September, will go to one of the horror channel platforms inside of YouTube.
And you can always catch our other two films, The Crumbs and The Evil Down the Street, on Tubi TV and Amazon Prime as well, but preferably Tubi TV.
And also a number of horror channels inside of YouTube. Just drop in the search, the movie's title, and you'll have different options that pop up.
Cool.
Definitely, guys. Definitely, folks. Give them a look up. As Craig and David says, where you can find them. You get Evil Down the Street, The Crumbs. You get Love and Quarantine. Now, it's Love. See, I made this mistake. I couldn't find it because I was typing in Love and Quarantine.
Correct, with the letter N.
Yep.
It's Love.
Correct.
And the letter N, Quarantine. 'Cause
Exactly.
I couldn't find it first. And then You know, I think I mailed you, Craig, to ask, you know, how can I know?
Uh,
But I found a eventually, which I'm quite grateful for. So that's
Well, the only reason we used the N was so that it would confuse people and they would remember the title.
it's a good title, and it's good the way it's done, Loving Quarantine. I,
including us.
Thank you
Evil.
so much for having us.
Thank you, Scott, very much, man. Always a pleasure.
One more question: are you up for doing another quiz at some point?
Sure, you
Another
got
what?
something coming up down the line. We can work something out. Always with you, Scott. We enjoy being your guests. You always are very enthusiastic. You make us feel like we're somebody.
These are
So
these are
thank you.
people. These are people.
Right on. Thank you,
Fair
sir.
enough.
Basic and simple. But I'll keep you just a wee second or two after we come off. So thanks everybody for coming in, and a major thanks to David Espinosa and Craig Arms. Remember to check out all their films on Amazon Prime and the other bits and pieces. Definitely worth a watch. And we're going to wind up there. We're back on Sunday night with the Society of William Wallace. We're going to be talking about Forgotten Braveheart, which we're starting to plan next month of our filming in September to coincide with the 725th anniversary of the Battle of Stirling Bridge, where William Wallace defeated the English. So that's us till Sunday night. So again, major thanks to Craig and David. Everybody come in and enjoy your weekend and stay safe.
Peace.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.